A long time ago, when expansion packs came on CDs, installation wizards were essential, and 3D acceleration was a luxury. We got to play as everyone's favorite Force-sensitive rogue, Mara Jade in Mysteries of the Sith. So fire up your lightsaber, stack those Force points, and join me on this ride through the eyes of the expanded universe's most iconic character.
I came here to make a simple deal. No, you wanted to do things the hard way.
This is Kyle. I'm preparing to lift off the asteroids.
Core overload in 60 seconds.
I love this job.
You will die!
As someone who grew up playing Dark Forces 2 and still ranks it among my all-time favorites,
This, gentlemen, this is treasure.
Mysteries of the Sith remained, quite literally, a mystery to me. For the longest time, I didn't even know it existed, only discovering it when I saw Mysteries bundled in the Jedi Knight collection on Steam. And when I finally fired it up, the experience was, well, you'll have to see for yourself.
Damn you! God damn you all to hell!
Because the base game's clunky visuals and shaky performance made it nearly unplayable, Mysteries of the Sith just sat buried in my Steam library, patiently waiting for the day I'd give it another shot. Fast forward years later, I discovered OpenJKDF2 and everything changed.
Very intriguing.
I was finally able to run it smoothly and see the game with a fresh new coat of paint. And if the original visuals are a bit rough on the eyes, there is a remastered mod that cleans things up nicely. That said, I stuck with the vanilla version for this review, partially to avoid getting tossed across the room like an Imperial officer by diehard fans, but also because there's a certain charm to those origami-style models that's hard to beat. But ultimately, the choice is yours. Built on the same Sith engine as the original, Mysteries of the Sith added 14 new levels, new weapons, force powers, and all kinds of strange new environments, giving players a deeper, darker look into the Star Wars universe. To sum up Mara Jade in one sentence, think Kyle Katarn, but sassy! If you aren't too familiar with the character of Mara Jade, here's a quick rundown. Mara started out as a Force-sensitive assassin, working as Palpatine's personal enforcer, loyal to the Emperor until his last breath. But with the Emperor dead, which many once thought was the case, she slipped into the criminal underworld, picking up work as a smuggler, mercenary, and freelance agent. Eventually, she crosses paths with Luke Skywalker and begins walking the path of the Jedi. And years after the events of this game, she doesn't just fight alongside him, she actually marries him, much to George Lucas's disappointment. By the time Mysteries of the Sith takes place, Mara Jade is no longer under the Emperor's control, but she's not quite a Jedi Knight either. Instead, she's continuing her training under none other than Kyle Katarn. But since I'm short on time and would prefer not to be force-choked in the comments by people who know a lot more about Mara Jade than I do, I'm gonna take the opportunity to see myself out, as I'm not the lore expert you're looking for. Alright, Chewie, punch it. We start this game with a Star Wars crawl that looks to be formatted a little wider than usual. In summary, after putting Jarek in the ground at the Valley of the Jedi, Kyle's been busy running missions for the New Republic. Now he's off to a remote base in the Altar system, this time with Mara Jade along for the ride, helping to sharpen up her skills. We open the game with our characters engaging in lightsaber combat training, in what can only be described as a deep-fried, microwaved in-engine cutscene. Unfortunately, Mysteries of the Sith drops the live-action cutscenes entirely, and it kind of feels like the team just packed up and left halfway through development, leaving behind a noticeably emptier experience.
You're taking 10 steps backwards, bud!
Anyways, Kyle and Mara's training is then interrupted by an urgent intercom announcement. The Imperials have broken through the shields by disguising their weapons as asteroids. To make matters worse, a strike force is en route to ground assault, and with evacuation blocked, it's up to Kyle to take matters into his own hands.
I'm gonna see if I can borrow a shuttle from our visitors, then I'll see what I can do about those asteroids.
Wait, did I hear that right?
Borrow a shuttle. Borrow.
Aside from the Canadian slip-up, one thing becomes immediately noticeable in Mysteries of the Sith. Jason Court is no longer the voice of Kyle Katarn. I had hoped to solve the mystery of why Jason Court didn't reprise his role for this expansion, especially since voice work alone would have been a much lighter load than full FMV acting. Oddly enough, in a recent interview from Films in Review, that very question was never addressed. And what makes this even stranger is that Court has said he would return to the role if Disney asked.
I wouldn't waste a second in saying yes if they asked me to do it.
The best guess I can offer is this. Jason Court probably saw this role as a throwaway gig back in the late 90s, and who could blame him? He likely didn't realize the legacy Dark Forces 2 would go on to build. He seems to have moved on quickly to pursue his passion for winemaking without looking back. That theory seems to be supported by something else he said in that same interview.
I hate to admit that I had absolutely no idea what the impact the scan would have.
He goes on to mention his brother-in-law cluing him in on the game's success, though he doesn't say when that conversation took place. I suspect it happened after the expansion came out, because now knowing how beloved the game is, Court is clearly open to returning. Had he have known then what he knows now, maybe we would have gotten a very different trajectory for Kyle Katarn. At any rate, back to the game. You hear that? Seems like LucasArts somehow lost the Stormtrooper hit sound effect from the prior game, now making them sound like total goobers.
Things go well, I might be showing her my O face.
Moving on, we wind our way through the maze-like corridors of the level, eventually force jumping into a control room where the mission objective completed message pops up on screen. From there, our next goal is the communications room, to jam the enemy's sensors and disrupt their operation. We push through more hallways, cutting down resistance until I accidentally strike down a friendly officer who, unfortunately, bears a little too much resemblance to the yellow enemy guards.
I shall avenge you.
Next, we head to the generator room to activate auxiliary power, and once that's done, Mara chimes in with her next objective.
Kyle, comm station reports power's been restored. Okay, we've jammed their sensors. Learned of a Lambda-class shuttle in the North Plateau. If you can steal it, it's your ride up to the asteroid.
With our new objective at hand, we begin making our way out of the facility, heading straight for the Lambda-class shuttle waiting ahead. We then step outside and spot our destination across the way. So once again, we rely on the old faithful combo, force speed and jump. And just like that, we reach the Imperial shuttle. As a reward for completing the mission, we're granted a massive batch of force points with all the powers we had in Dark Forces 2, plus some new additions like Force Push. After cashing in our force points, we gear up with a fresh set of abilities and head into the next chapter. Touching down on the Asteroid's crust, we're immediately greeted by a stunning design choice. One repeated texture that looks like a love letter to 1970s brown shag carpet, complete with Marlboro cigarette burns.
Come to where the flavor is.
While searching for a way out, a base farther in the distance can be seen with a dozen enemies to deal with. I jump down and try to find an entrance on the ground level, but end up with nothing to show for it. After dying a tragic and entirely preventable death, I take the second more hidden path, and this time, I'm on the right track. Eventually, I come across an officer sealed inside a control room, and this is where the game introduces a brand new mechanic, shooting buttons. You see that section that looks like a window, probably one of those blaster-proof ones? You're actually supposed to shoot through it and hit a tiny control panel to open the door. This was never a thing in the previous game, and how they expected players to figure it out is a mystery. The developers probably realized this stunt of theirs would probably piss off the players, so they sweetened the deal by having the officer drop a scope for the Stormtrooper rifle.
There you go.
Now that we've finally found an opening, we set our sights on what lies inside. After dropping down a few platforms and wandering through the area, we come across our first real puzzle of the game. Sort of. This one genuinely caught me off guard. The solution wasn't what I would expect from a Jedi Knight game, and I waste a lot of time standing around with my thumb up my butt. Then it hits me. I can bait the turret into hitting the conveniently placed explosive barrel just by shifting over to the far right. With the elevator descending on the far side, we pull off a quick force jump and take out the enemy officers, until a hover car full of enemies rolls up to crash the party. Naturally, I steal the ride and cruise it down the rocky path until I'm greeted by that nostalgic sound we all love to hear.
There's no way you survived that fall. Base, this is TK-8252. We have eliminated the intruder.
After taking what looks like a considerable amount of fall damage, we wake up on top of a large pipe. From there, we drop down running and gunning through vast corridors. After lots of aimless wandering, which I'll kindly spare you from, things finally pick up when we reach the control room, and we push through a large door and take out a few officers with some satisfying sniper shots.
Boom, headshot! Boom, headshot! Boom, headshot!
Okay, I know that wasn't a headshot, but this gun's a one-shot kill no matter where you aim, so I'm gonna give myself a pass. After that, we crawl through a small vent and cut a circuit which finally unlocks the forbidden area we saw at the start of the level. Inside, we pick up a red key, but it doesn't take long to realize something's missing.
Something's off.
Minimal damage to target.
Something is off.
I'm not doing enough damage. I need to increase power to the weapon.
So we set out on a quest to go and find that button. Turns out the red key unlocks a room we couldn't access earlier, so we sprint back to the launcher controls to wrap things up. Once activated, the launcher fires and takes out one of the two Imperial asteroids.
That takes care of one of them. Now to set the self-destruct and get out of here.
Now we get to the exciting portion of this 3-level stage. We run down the cliff's edge and jump to the bridge. Cutting the vent, we cave dive through the devil's ass crack, cutting a circuit on the other side, which then opens up the floor hatch, only to get Eventually, we narrowly survive and make our way into a circular chamber filled with water. After clearing out our enemies, we grab a hidden secret tucked away above us, then dive below to begin a little underwater puzzle, pressing switches in a specific order and swimming deeper to cut a series of circuits. And now that the self-destruction has commenced, it's up to us to get the hell out of here! With the clock ticking, we quickly take out anyone in our way, hit the 2 switches and dive back into the water and start running. Having learned our lesson to tread lightly, we jump down a near fatal distance and start pressing buttons in a frenzied state.
He's not gonna make it! He's gonna make it!
Mara, this is Kyle. Mission accomplished. It's clear to give the evacuation codes.
Way to go, Kyle. I'll meet you at the hangar.
After the successful mission, Kyle and Mara rendezvous back at HQ, where Mara casually asks why Kyle insists on taking separate ships.
Because I've discovered some references to a hidden temple on the remote planet of Droman Kaz. Something I don't think the Empire wanted anyone to see.
Mara, after hearing this, shows clear frustration when Kyle reveals his plan to investigate the planet alone.
The New Republic needs you to—
But my training!
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Yeah, I understand.
With Kyle gone, Mara is given her own task, one just as dangerous.
Try to stay out of trouble, Kyle.
Mara is informed that the New Republic is in desperate need of supplies, and unfortunately, their best shot at getting them involves dealing with Kappa the Hutt. They figure Mara's shady smuggler past makes her the perfect candidate, someone a slug like Kappa might actually trust.
Tell your master that Mara Jade wishes to discuss a deal on behalf of the New Republic. That was different. I'm not—
After getting rejected at the gate, we force jump to a nearby ledge and have fun with the DL-44 blaster. Stat-wise, it's pretty much identical to the Briar pistol, but it feels way more fun to shoot. Once the Grave Tuskens are out of the picture, we snag one of their bowcasters and continue through the winding caverns, eventually emerging on the other side of the building. At this point, I have no idea how to get inside. I wander around for a while, slowly losing my mind until finally, out of pure boredom, I smack some random doohickey with my lightsaber. And wouldn't you know it, the gate opens. Problem solved. As we blaze through the palace halls, taking down enemies and scooping up supplies, we stumble upon a set of Tusken Raider robes. It's a neat new feature in this expansion. Put on the outfit and you can slip past enemies unnoticed. Of course, the stealth doesn't last long. We immediately break cover for a lightsaber-fueled rampage that's equal parts deadly and ridiculous. Once the chaos dies down and the robes come off, we continue forward, eventually finding ourselves in a circular prison of sorts, complete with a button-activated staircase. We climb the steps and ride the cube to the top level. And finally, we reach the dome over Kappa's palace, and stumble on a very conveniently placed container of explosives.
They shouldn't leave these lying around. Somebody could get hurt.
And do the only logical thing, slap them right on top. Time to make a good first impression.
Tell your men to back off. Back off! Look, I came here to make a simple deal, but no, you wanted to do things the hard way.
Kappa claims this whole thing was a misunderstanding and is willing to work out a new deal, one with Mara working for him in a special capacity.
I'm not here to work for you.
Mara doesn't want to work for him, but with the odds stacked against her, she has little choice.
Very well. What do you propose?
The tension eases as Kappa reveals that his rival, Takara, has stolen a critical piece of surveillance equipment, one Takara now uses to spy on his operations. In short, Kappa wants it back, and he believes Mara is the fastest way to make it happen. And once the device is recovered, he promises to provide the New Republic with everything they need.
Wow, that sounds like a really good deal.
We touch down at the Katrasi spaceport on the hunt for Takara's agent, Aubryn Marr. Word is, he's hanging out at the local spaceport cantina. Once we're on the ground, we drop into the lower levels, snag a few hidden items stashed behind some shipping crates, and move towards the city. Strangely enough, no one's shooting at us. Yet.
Something's off. Something is off.
I'd like to give Mysteries of the Sith credit for the world building here. The city actually feels alive. Between the bustling crowds, the variety of enemies, and the overall scale, it's surprisingly immersive, and in my opinion, even more impressive than Baron's Head from the previous game. But we don't have long to soak it in. We follow Aubryn into the cantina, only to realize rushing in was a mistake.
I had a bad feeling about this.
You failed!
If we want to take him down, we'll need to cut off his escape route first. On our second attempt, the enemies catch on fast. The whole city turns hostile, and now we're weaving through blaster fire, trying to close down his way out before he slips through our fingers. Eventually, we manage to locate Mar's ship, but we need to grab a blue wrench to shut off his exit. So we're off again, digging around until we finally get our hands on it, cutting off his exit at last. Then it's back to business, tracking him down, mowing through henchmen, and ramming a hovercraft through the obstructing door. Come on.
I love this job.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
The search continues, and we waste no time pushing forward. After running around in search of our target, including a quick detour to an underground bar, we finally spot a vent tucked away in a not-so-obvious location. A bit of upward platforming later, we're greeted by a Trandoshan who kindly donates his rail detonator before we move on. Turns out this level is crawling with them, and they go from tough to just plain irritating pretty quickly. But I managed to make it through. Continuing our search, we stumble on a fun little Easter egg, the Millennium Falcon taking off right in front of us. After that moment of fan service, we head up to the rooftops, then spot more enemies down at ground level. I switch to the sniper rifle and pick them off one by one, until I pick up the blue key, and and Mara's whereabouts are revealed.
So, it seems the rat has run out of places to hide.
Who's the rat now? You walked right into my trap.
That's right. Follow me right into my trap.
Is this the best that Kappa has to offer? I'm sure Takara will have some questions he'll want to ask her.
After having our expectations thoroughly subverted, we're then dragged into Takara's stronghold and thrown into a prison cell. Behind the cell bars, we use force pull to grab the oversized key from the nearby Gamorrean guard. And upon getting out, we engage in some good old-fashioned fisticuffs. Surprisingly, the fists and mysteries of the Sith are actually useful this time around, unlike the borderline useless version in Dark Forces 2. They hit faster and get the job done. Eventually, we locate the exit, but we're blocked again. Looks like we'll need something to pry open the hydraulics. Once retrieved, we slip into the sludge, only to find ourselves face to face with something far worse than anything we've encountered thus far.
I was gonna regret this.
We yank our lightsaber towards us with force pull, then leap frantically around him with force-assisted jumps before finally resorting to a barrage of wild strikes until he goes down for good. Continuing our prison escape, we take out
Flamethrower to this place!
Moving on, we grab a droid arm to activate a nearby access panel, which opens a bay door leading to a water-filled channel. From there, we force jump out of the water and scale a rocky formation, cutting through a vent to complete the mission objective and call in our ride.
I'm in the stronghold and I've got the GCT device. Pick me up at the dock at the north end.
We're on our way.
We head back in, vault over the electrified pool, and shut it down. Then it's back underwater through the newly opened passage, until we emerge at the ship at last.
Kappa, how nice of your men to recover my ship and load all the supplies for me. You keep this up and you might give yourself a good name.
Kappa, never one to waste time on formalities, gets straight to the point, demanding payment for the supplies. Mara, unfazed, quickly informs him that she'll have to report his use of illegal surveillance equipment to Mon Mothma. With his leverage slipping, Kappa swiftly backtracks, insisting the supplies are now a generous gift to the New Republic.
A pleasure doing business with you.
After Kappa delivers the supplies to the New Republic, we board a transport ship, tasked with carrying a Jedi holocron through uncharted space. Our mission? Make sure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. During the hostile boarding, we rush to the lower decks, clearing a ship that's blocking our path in the landing bay. Taking a platform down, we arrive in a zero-gravity chamber, surely an impressive bit of tech for its time. After clearing out a squad of pirates, an astromech droid opens our escape route, leading us into a dark, cramped cargo lift area. Narrowly dodging death, we reach the ship's energy core, where we pry open a vent and launch ourselves into another zero-G chamber, drifting through space as we search for a way out. Eventually, we find our way and slip into another cargo box just in time to be loaded onto another ship, hoping to track the pirates and recover the stolen holocron. This level leans more into routine than spectacle. We spend most of our time darting through the pirate ship, busting open doors, snatching keys, and weaving through endless metal corridors. A brief adrenaline spike hits as we drop into a chamber with a massive ceiling fan, spinning just a little too close for comfort. From there, it's conveyor belts, tight corners, and pirate shootouts as we advance through the ship's industrial maze. By the level's end, we slip aboard a small spacecraft, spend our points in force persuasion, and blast off toward Karabani's base to retrieve the holocron. Having landed at the base, the pirates don't recognize us, but as we push deeper into the map, we get spotted. We try out our freeze gun only to quickly realize it's useless, not a damn thing happens, and even the melee attack doesn't work right. I'm not sure if it's a glitch on my end or if I'm doing something wrong. Maybe it's more of a tool than a weapon, who knows. Leaping from the city rooftops, we descend to the next level, taking down a new enemy, a knife-wielding monkey man creature. Did I say this game was weird yet? Next, we tackle a water platforming puzzle with force pull to move forward, then battle through open waters, taking out sea polygons before reaching the artifact exhibit. We then dive into the nearby pool and torpedo our way through, crossing into the holding chamber and grabbing the artifact. As the anti-theft alarm blares at an ear-splitting volume, we make a quick exit, running and gunning through the chaos before leaping onto the nearest shuttle and blasting out of there.
Mara, this is Mon Mothma. Go ahead.
I'm concerned about Kyle. Have you heard from him? He's been out of contact for quite some time now.
I understood he was on some sort of personal mission.
He was investigating a lead he had regarding the ruins of a Sith temple on Dromund Kaz. But I'm afraid something may have happened to him. I think I should check it out.
I can't afford to lose either of you. Do what you must, but keep in touch.
At last, we finally reached the final stretch of the game. After slogging through a series of fetch quests, we're finally given something with real narrative weight. The question of Kyle Katarn's true allegiance. Has he remained loyal to the light, or has the darkness finally taken hold? There's only one way to find out. We arrive at the swamp only to be blocked by a glowing-eyed statue that refuses to let us pass. Instinctively, we try using our force powers, but for some reason, our energy is being drained the moment we get close. After taking a moment to regroup and let our force meter recharge, we keep our distance just long enough to avoid the drain, then smoothly slip past. Guided by our field light, we trudge through the dark, taking out an onslaught of bugs, until we realize the swamp has all but neutered our guns. Luckily, we finally spot the temple where we square off against our evil clone. After defeating ourselves, we drop down into the next area, fight off another wave of knife-wielding monkey men, and then dive in, taking out any underwater threat in our way. With the swamp world behind us and the finish line in sight, we invest in healing because we're gonna need it. Once inside, we battle enchanted statues, each one animated with familiar assets carried over from Dark Forces 2. Some reuse Yun's battle stance while others mimic Jarek's distinct movements. It's a nice callback even if they are trying to kill us. Deeper into the temple, we slice through what feels like an endless onslaught of statues before finally reaching Kyle. That, in a nutshell, sums up the core of this level.
Mara, you should not have come.
What's going on, Kyle? When you located the temple, why didn't you report in?
Because when I found the temple, I found a part of me which I couldn't deny. I found a greater source of power than I had ever known.
Here in these ruins?
Don't judge with your eyes, Mara. Reach out with the Force. Sense the power of the Sith around you. Accept it.
It is so evil. I think it's great because it's so bad.
No! I sense only evil and death. Kyle, we have to get you away from here.
I have chosen my destiny, and it lies here. Because of our friendship, I offer you the chance to leave, but do not persist in pursuing me. If you do, I will not be responsible for the consequences.
Kyle, wait! I don't like the look of this, but there's no other way.
Upon Evil Kyle's descent, we land at the catacombs, starting our mission of tracking him down for the last time. Speeding our way through this 90s nightmare, we spend way too much time dodging tigers, often to the brink of death, and sometimes well past it. One of the tougher threats of this level comes from the reanimated Sith corpses wielding only Force lightning. Their attacks are relentless and painfully effective, and their death sound? With the enemies finally cleared out, we carry on, hunting for the switches that will unlock the massive doors in the chamber ahead. Next up is a puzzle, an array of images depicting warriors, mages, and other enigmatic figures. Once we crack it, the doors slide open to reveal a squad of Sith guards. We rip through their ranks and edge closer to the ultimate goal, confronting Kyle Katarn. Descending deeper, we cross a moving bridge and step into the abyss below.
Your Jedi powers will fail you, and you will walk alone.
Well, that didn't work. Having apparently learned my lesson about blindly walking forward, I hang back, waiting for something to happen. But when nothing does, it becomes clear. The only way out is a leap of faith, defying Kyle's illusion. I remember from my last playthrough that you're not supposed to fight Kyle. There's no way to win. But still, I take a few swings at him just for fun before ultimately laying down my weapon. In the end, it comes down to trust. Mara stands unarmed, placing her faith in Kyle to make the right choice.
I can't. No! I won't do this. This is not the way. I can't kill my friends and allies. I thought I could control the power. Instead, I lost myself to it. I have failed.
You haven't failed, Kyle.
So now I suppose you're the teacher and I'm the student.
You should be so lucky. Come on, let's go home.
And that, my friends, wraps up Star Wars Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith. Overall, I enjoyed my time with the game, but I walk away with mixed feelings. On one hand, it brought some genuinely cool new additions like fresh weapons, expanded force powers, and occasionally impressive level design. The ability to disguise yourself and sneak past unsuspecting enemies was a welcome mechanic, and areas like the bustling spaceports felt more expansive and alive than anything Dark Forces 2 had to offer. But Mysteries is very much a you gain some, you lose some experience. And one loss I felt deeply was the omission of the full motion cutscenes. That choice more than anything stripped the game of a certain spark. In Dark Forces 2, the hokey but earnest live-action scenes gave the narrative life and helped me connect with the characters, however campy the performances might have been. They brought personality to the story and anchored the low-fidelity visuals with emotional weight. After those scenes, my mind filled in the gaps, and the experience became more than just pixels and polygons, it became memory. It's what made Dark Forces 2 stand out from every other game in the series. That's not to say Mysteries of the Sith had no identity, it certainly did, but with the loss of those cinematic moments and the scaled-down story structure, it feels like a missed opportunity. To be fair, I understand the limitations of expansion packs at that time, and despite its flaws, Mysteries of the Sith still managed to surprise me with some bold ideas and mechanical improvements. It may not live up to its predecessor in every way, but there's no denying it has its own strange charm, and it's a worthy, if flawed, entry in the golden age of Star Wars video games. But enough about my thoughts. What about yours? What do you think of Mysteries of the Sith? Does it live up to the original, or does it fall short? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, consider hitting that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one.
What a pleasant surprise! Kill me! Content old man.
What would you do without me, Kyle?
You will die. Why? As a Jedi, you deserve a battle.
I finally get my chance to repay you.